Hi, let's have a look at Near Protocol. Near Protocol has been performing the best in the last 7 days, and you can't say that about a lot of crypto right now. Crypto tends to go down, but Near Protocol is outperforming. So does it make sense to buy Near Protocol now at a little bit over $10? Near is now at market rank 29 with a market cap of approximately 6 billion. Now this is not the first time we talk about Near on this channel. What you need to note is that I'm not going to get into any fundamentals here. So I'm only going to discuss the charts, and we will not just look at the US dollar valuation. Because the issue with US dollar charts is that you've got a lot of correlation across different cryptocurrencies, right? So when we look at Near Protocol, for example, here the recent top, it coincides with a top here in Ethereum. Or let's look at the bottom over here in June, July. We also saw that in Near. So the chart patterns across cryptocurrencies, they look quite similar. And so just looking at the US dollar chart doesn't give us too much information. Because of course we all want to do US dollar gains. But what we're actually interested in when looking for things such as Near is outperformance, right? We're not just looking at US dollar gains, but we are taking on more risk than, say, for example, buying Bitcoin or Ethereum, which have a way higher market cap. Near Protocol has a market dominance of 0.26%. Bitcoin has a market dominance of around 40%. Ethereum of around 20%. So only 0.26% of all of crypto is in Near Protocol. You take on way more risk, and so you need some kind of outperformance over the long term. You really shouldn't look at the US dollar performance. You really should look at the outperformance versus Bitcoin and versus Ethereum. So Bitcoin is the common way to look at this, right? And this is now the Near price divided by the Bitcoin price. It's interesting when looking at this chart that there seems to be some kind of resistances and support lines. Since beginning of the year, Near Protocol has been outperforming Bitcoin by quite a bit, almost 340% outperformance. And the reason why I look at this since beginning of the year is because that's when Bitcoin dominance started falling, right? Bitcoin as a fraction of the entire crypto market went from over 70% to currently 41%. Or another way to say this is the altcoins, they gained ground, right? Bitcoin became less important, but at the same time, the total cryptocurrency market cap, it went up. So Bitcoin grew slower than the rest of the market. The altcoins, they outperformed, and so did Near Protocol. So Near Protocol did the same as most other altcoins have done during that time. Now that's the minimum you should expect. If you're looking at an altcoin and it did not outperform Bitcoin since beginning of the year, then you really have to have a very strong fundamental reason to buy into such a cryptocurrency. But that's not what we see over here. Now what about the outperformance versus Ethereum? So this is now the Near Protocol price divided by the Ethereum price. And these are lines I have drawn on a previous video about Near on this channel. So this has not just been drawn recently and trying to tell a story here that we potentially hit a new high. This has been drawn quite a few weeks back. And I think this is very interesting, right? Long-term, Near doesn't seem to outperform Ethereum. At least it hasn't in the past. And there seems to be a pretty clear trend over here. The magnitude of those movements within the trend are pretty large though, right? This is a 250% outperformance versus Ethereum, or if you look at this the other way around, this is a 75% underperformance. So this is not a narrow trend line at all, but it's definitely worth noting that this is not particularly favorable for Near. Now, if you think this will break out and we might go back to the old valuations where Near was comparatively expensive versus Ethereum, we are looking at a 50% outperformance, and the potential risk that you're looking at is maybe 18% or 40%. If it goes really bad, 53%. Or even 67%. Now, I'm not saying that any of those cases here will happen, right? Nobody knows the future. But the way I personally approach crypto, at least how I approach the technical analysis, not the fundamental analysis, is I try to follow trends. I try to follow momentum. And a long-term downwards trend where we are currently very high within that trend, that doesn't look too pretty. Now, another thing worth noting is trading volume, because especially with smaller altcoins, right? Not the top 10 altcoins, but say once you go down to 0.2% market dominance, then you do have a lot of price development that is simply attention driven. And trading volume is one measure of attention. So you can very often see that when trading volume is particularly high, that the price also is comparatively elevated. So look at this price, the 15th of May. This is when compared to the days before and the days after the price was the highest. And we can see this repeatedly. This is not just a coincidence. Let's look here at the 8th of September, the exact same pattern. The prices before that were lower, the prices afterwards were lower. So you always want to look at trading volume whenever you get in and out of an asset. You don't want to necessarily buy when trading volume is very high, but you might consider, if you're already invested in an asset, when you suddenly see trading volume shooting up, to sell exactly at that time, because that's when excitement is the highest. That's when most people potentially want to buy. And so the recent trading volume here isn't as high as it used to be before, right? We had way higher spikes, but still it's comparatively elevated, right? Maybe usually we were trading around, say, 1 million or so coins each day. Now we're at 1.5 million, or maybe even 2 million, something like this. The day hasn't yet closed. So this is definitely something to note. NEAR has more attention than it usually has at this very moment. Now we've said that correlation is high, right? That crypto tends to move in the same directions, that the valleys, they happen at the same time, that the tops, they happen at the same time. And so the question is, what really drives the altcoin market? And when you look at the correlations, by calculating the coefficients to one another, you actually notice that Ethereum is higher correlated to the altcoins than Bitcoin is. So it's really Ethereum that's driving the altcoin market. And when we look at the recent trend for Ethereum, we try to draw the most obvious development over here. We can see we are in a positive trend, so that's good, but also pretty high within that trend channel. And so very short term, it's very hard to predict what's going to happen, right? A single whale can change the price. It's very hard to predict if tomorrow or the day after tomorrow we will shoot up. If we look just at this recent trading range in the last days, right, we might very well simply go up by, say, 15% or so in Ethereum. And since a smaller altcoin tends to move more in terms of percentages than the large cryptocurrencies do, and since the correlation is high, if this bounce here for Ethereum happens and we go back up in this trading range, then NEAR protocol is likely to gain more than just 15%, right? Then we will not just see $10 for NEAR protocol, then we are likely going to see, say, $12, $13. That's very much on the cards if we see that bounce. Now, I'm not completely convinced that we will see it, right? But as said, predicting such short-term movements is basically impossible, right? I can't look into the heads of every single whale on the planet. But if I had to make a prediction, I'd say we are rather bearish. This is the 23 and the 39-day moving average for Ethereum. And when you backtest moving averages, so when you are in the market whenever the price is above the moving average, and you're outside of the market whenever the price is below the moving average, when you backtest such a trading strategy, you find out that the 23 and the 39-day moving average, they historically work the best for Ethereum. Now, obviously, that strategy isn't perfect either, right? We had a lot of failed signals over here, a lot of random noise. And so you still have to put these signals into context. But if you're asking me, are we currently rather bullish or rather bearish in crypto? What's the current momentum? I'd say we are rather bearish. And that bearish overall picture for Ethereum and for the entire altcoin market, combined with NEAR protocol being that high in relative valuation to Ethereum, that picture makes me rather cautious with NEAR right now. Now, that being said, that's simply technical analysis, right? That's simply just looking at momentum. It's simply looking at excitement, at psychology. It's not looking at the fundamentals at all. And so if you've got a fundamental thesis that NEAR protocol will withstand the overall crypto market sentiment and that it can continue to rise, or if you think that the overall crypto market is going to rise, right? These kind of factors can change the decision here. I'm looking at this in a very isolated way. I'm simply looking at patterns. And so this video is by no means a recommendation not to buy NEAR protocol. This is simply an additional data point that you might take into consideration. In the end, you should always do your own research as well. A single video on YouTube is probably not going to be enough to help outperform the market. If you enjoyed this video, you might consider checking out the premium membership that can be found at thebitcoinstrategy.com. We've got daily market updates on Bitcoin and Ethereum. We've also got tutorials on technical analysis, a private Telegram channel where you can ask me any questions. So a lot of value over there. Feel free to check that out at thebitcoinstrategy.com. Now, if you haven't liked the video yet, that would be very much appreciated as well. It will help the channel grow. Consider subscribing as well. I publish videos regularly. And last but not least, we've also got a public Telegram channel. We are more than 1,000 people over there. You can find us simply by searching for Bitcoin Strategy Channel within the Telegram app or simply by clicking the link in the video description. See you next time. Bye-bye.